Recently, while in Europe, we visited 3 Dakar Rally Icons. They all certainly get out into remote places. Any guesses which? Watch and see how many you get right. The Dakar Rally started in 1979, initially running from Paris, France down to Dakar in Senegal. Focusing on long desert stages makes it really hard to finish, let alone win. So this rally has developed a strong reputation for being difficult, and it also has a strong following both by competitors and spectators alike. In 2009 it was transferred to South America. And since 2020 has been run in the sandy nation of Saudi Arabia. During the 1980s, while still in North Africa, the craziness of Group B rallying allowed some extreme trucks to be developed for Dakar, including our first icon, the twin-engine DAF truck of Jan de Roy, who in 1988 shocked the motorsport world by passing the leading car at over 220 km per hour in the open desert. That wasn't supposed to be possible, as the trucks were much slower and really there just as support vehicles for the motorbikes and cars. There is a video clip showing Jan passing Ari Button's car, still on YouTube today. Can you imagine driving an 11-ton truck at 220 kilometers off-road? However, this was no ordinary truck, with 1200 horsepower available from its 2 engines. It truly was a monster. A light and strong hand-built chassis, complete with an integrated roll cage, enclosed the running gear. Those 2 engines boasted 6 turbines, 4 small and 2 large enough to almost suck in passing camels. I would not have liked to have paid the fuel bill. The diesel tanks carried 1,000 litres and it sucked that through at a litre a minute when it was going properly. It was incredibly quick, especially in the dunes, where its endless torque enabled them to churn up and down the mountainous dunes that were encountered. Unfortunately, it also saw the end of the open class for trucks. This came about in the same Dakar when an identical team truck rolled 4 times at high speed, tragically killing 1 team member. Today, Dakar trucks are limited to a maximum speed of 140 km per hour, which is still plenty fast when you see the conditions they drive through. Another big difference in today's trucks is the suspension travel. De Roy's Beast had only 180mm, and today they're allowed 300mm. So while top speed is way down, they still are able to travel much faster over the rougher parts of the stages. This truck is housed in the DAF Museum, which is an extremely interesting museum to visit. It is full of cars, trucks and military vehicles that make up the DAF story. I could talk about their CVT, the constant variable transmission. DAF first put in manufacture in the 1950s, but rather will show you 4 ideas from the military side. Idea number 1, the ingenious bike stretcher they developed in the 1930s, complete with folding torsion bar suspension. The soft ride that was provided was much appreciated by the transported patients. It could be used off-road or on single tracks by 2 men, or in a standard wide configuration to be readily pulled by 1 person, walking or on a bike or motorbike. Idea number 2, the winch tow hitch combination, which allows a towed vehicle to be winched and rigidly connected while the towing vehicle is moving. It is all controlled by the driver, giving incredible versatility in soft and difficult ground conditions. Just imagine how useful one of these would be at the boat ramp, on the farm, or pulling a trailer off-road. Idea number 3. DAF's H differential layout, where from behind the gearbox the drive goes to both sides and then forward and back to drive each side. This allows much greater centre vehicle ground clearance and a much longer vertical suspension range. Ideal for 6 and 8 wheeled vehicles designed for off-road use. Idea number 4. Spare wheels side mounted on a hub, in line with the wheels but higher, so when they make ground contact in extreme off-road conditions they work as supporting wheels, reducing the ground load. Also, they are easily accessible when needing a wheel change. The second icon, the Coronel twins, Tim and Tom. They are a household name in the Netherlands and well known internationally. They have competed in over 9 Dakars. Tom has competed 10 times in the Le Mans 24-hour races and numerous open-wheeled and saloon car series since 1990. He is currently leading the Touring Car Racing, or TCR, Europe Series in an Audi RS3. I caught up with Tom over a couple of coffees, and it's easy to see why the twins are so popular and a household name in the Netherlands. I've got to say, Tom was a very gracious host, granting me a generous amount of his time, which led to a visit to their Dakar team workshop. Being an amateur team, it was amazing to see what a bunch of talented volunteers can achieve. A couple of nights a week they have a team of about 12-15 guys turn up to get through all the work that is required to get a Dakar car ready. This leads us to the third icon, Century CR6 buggy. There were 10 of these in this year's Dakar event, but here I'm looking at the Coronel team's 2 cars. Tim and Tom's was just back from the chassis shop as it required significant structural straightening after a 170 kilometre multiple roll in this year's Dakar Stage 7, which was finished on 3 wheels, with Tom hanging outside on the opposite corner to act as ballast. Their other CRC is driven by a teammate, which caught fire during the first Dakar stage and was completely burnt out. Their new chassis and body with all the other goodies added to it looked pretty mint. When I visited their workshop, it had just got back from a test run on an off-road track, which had gone well. The Coronels call their car the Desert Lion. It really is a global car. Designed and built in South Africa, the engine, a 7-litre Chev LS7, and parts come from the US, a French SADEV sequential gearbox, Taiwanese tyres, German parts, and Dutch drivers, clothing and batteries. All controlled by the Motec engine management system from Aussie. It's interesting looking at the detail that goes into this car. Cabin fresh air via the exterior mirrors, very large coolers for the engine, transmission and intercooler, 37-inch wheels and auto tyre inflation system, 440mm of suspension travel, which is almost 3 times what De Roy had in his 2-engine monster. For the media team, a camera pod mounts and manages up to 6 cars to ensure interesting and informative YouTubes and other digital content when the cars compete. These 2 cars are supported by a team, a support container and media truck. Also at the workshop was a Coronel 1-seater buggy. They drove in 2015, 16 and 17. They built these buggies themselves, weighing in at 800 kg, powered by a 1400cc Suzuki Hayabusa engine. In these you have to navigate as well as drive. Remember, no GPS devices are allowed. So we trust you enjoyed your viewing of this very different Remote Places NZ video, one of our Europe series. Did you guess any of the Dakar icons we covered? 1, 2 or 3? Getting to visit some things that excite you can motivate you up off the couch, and so you get to see, experience and enjoy different things in the area you are travelling through much more. To receive notifications of future videos, please subscribe and ring the bell. Thank you, Dudley Moore at Remote Places NZ.